Welcome to Wellness and Mindfulness Digest 2026-0614. Today's 12 stories. Story 1, Yoga and Mental Health, How It Calms the Brain, Eases Anxiety, and Lifts Mood. Story 2, Effectiveness of Relaxation-Based Methods on Improving General Health and Quality of Life in Women with Lymphoma. Story 3, Not only Vedic thought, even modern research shows meditation has dynamic benefits for young adults. Story 4, International Yoga Day 2026, Complete Guide to the Theme, Brain Plasticity and Yoga. Story 5, Breathwork and Nervous System Regulation. Story 6, Top Evidence-Based Strategies for Naturally Reducing Anxiety. Story 7, Immediate Mood Changes and Practice Adherence During a Self-Directed Mindfulness Practice. Story 8, Are you making this common mistake in Plough pose? Story 9, International Yoga Day 2026 focuses on healthy aging. Story 10, Nervous System Regulation Meditations, Insight Timer. Story 11, How Yoga, Swimming, and Running each target the body's stress response. Story 12, Cultivating Inner Peace, 10 Practices for a Calm and Centered Life. Story 1, Yoga and Mental Health, How It Calms the Brain, Eases Anxiety, and Lifts Mood. Insight Timer, recognized as one of the world's largest free meditation platforms, has curated a dedicated collection of nervous system regulation meditations, bringing practitioner-led breathwork and awareness practices to a broad global audience at no cost. This matters because access to stress management tools has historically been tied to socioeconomic status, therapy availability, and geographic location. A free, high-quality platform changes that equation in meaningful ways. What makes this collection particularly notable is the language it uses. Rather than generic relaxation or mindfulness framing, Insight Timer anchors its content in nervous system regulation, a term rooted in clinical neuroscience and increasingly popularized through trauma-informed wellness communities online. This reflects a broader cultural shift. Everyday users are becoming more sophisticated consumers of mental health-adjacent content, seeking tools that speak to the biological mechanisms of stress rather than just the experiential feelings of calm. The platform's practitioner-led model adds a degree of credibility that purely user-generated content lacks. Guided sessions led by trained yoga teachers, somatic therapists, and mindfulness instructors offer structure and expertise that someone practicing alone might not achieve. For many users, this kind of accessible, structured guidance may serve as a meaningful first step toward managing chronic stress before, or even instead of, pursuing clinical care. That said, important caveats apply. There is no independent clinical outcome data presented, no user metrics shared, and no publication date to contextualize this information. The content reads more as platform promotion than independent journalism or research. The effectiveness of meditation apps for nervous system regulation varies considerably by individual, condition severity, and consistency of practice. While the platform has real public health potential as a democratizing force in wellness, it should be understood as a complementary tool rather than a clinical solution. Still, in a landscape where mental health care access remains deeply unequal, free, practitioner-led digital resources represent a genuinely valuable development worth tracking. Story 2, Effectiveness of Relaxation-Based Methods on Improving General Health and Quality of Life in Women with Lymphoma. A June 2026 article from AOL Health, written by Samantha Agate, brings together expert guidance from Harvard Medical School, Massachusetts General Hospital, and the Mayo Clinic to answer a question millions of people search for during stressful periods. What is the best workout for stress relief? The answer, according to the experts cited, is refreshingly inclusive. The 5 most recommended exercises are yoga, running, swimming, tai chi, and strength training. But the broader message is even more accessible than that list suggests. Dr. Carmel Choi of Harvard Medical School puts it plainly. Exercise does not remove what is causing your stress, but it can boost your mood, reduce tension, and improve your sleep, all of which are impaired by chronic stress. The Mayo Clinic goes further, saying that almost any form of movement, from gardening to dancing to stair climbing, can reduce stress as long as you actually do it consistently. That last point is where the science gets particularly interesting. The article emphasizes that consistency matters more than intensity when stress relief is the goal. This aligns with what behavioral scientists have long argued about habit formation. The best exercise plan is the one you will actually follow through on. Choosing a modality you enjoy dramatically increases the likelihood of adherence, which is where the real long-term benefit accumulates. On yoga specifically, the article gets into the physiological weeds in a helpful way. Yoga works by pairing slow, controlled breathing with grounding postures that quiet the body's fight-or-flight response. Registered yoga teacher Jessica Rihel explains that prone and tabletop positions are especially calming because they help you withdraw your senses and focus inward. You do not need a studio, a membership, or elaborate equipment. A mat, a quiet corner, and 10 minutes of intentional breathing can produce real neurological and psychological benefits. For public health, the implications are significant. As mental health systems face growing demand and limited capacity, accessible, free, and low-barrier interventions like these become critically important tools in the broader stress management ecosystem. Story 3. Not only Vedic thought, even modern research shows meditation has dynamic benefits for young adults. The inspiring Wishes article on cultivating inner peace offers something increasingly rare in the wellness content landscape: a genuinely thoughtful synthesis of ancient philosophical wisdom and modern psychological research, written with emotional intelligence and compassion rather than productivity culture urgency. At its heart, the piece redefines what inner peace actually means. It is not, the article argues, a constant state of bliss or the erasure of difficult emotions. It is something much more practical and achievable, a quiet confidence that you can handle what life brings. That reframe matters enormously. A great deal of wellness culture sets up impossible standards of perpetual calm, which paradoxically increases anxiety for people who feel they are failing to be peaceful enough. This article takes a different approach, one rooted in both Buddhist and Stoic traditions that have grappled with this question for centuries. The garden metaphor at the center of the piece is particularly effective. Inner peace, the author suggests, is not a destination you arrive at and then maintain effortlessly. It is a garden that requires consistent, gentle tending. Some days it flourishes. Other days, weeds of worry or storms of sadness appear, and the task is simply to tend to it with patience. This framing releases readers from perfectionism and invites them into a sustainable daily practice rather than an all-or-nothing pursuit. The article also touches on modern psychology's convergence with these traditions, specifically mindfulness, defined as paying attention to the present moment without judgment, and emotional regulation. Research suggests, the article notes, that mindfulness practices can reduce stress and improve well-being, core foundations of inner peace. While no specific studies are named, the claim itself is well supported by decades of clinical research. The piece is aimed particularly at individuals navigating grief and accumulated life experience, a demographic often underserved by mainstream wellness content. That intentional targeting gives it a depth and emotional maturity that makes it worth engaging with, even if its evidentiary standards fall short of clinical literature. Story 4, International Yoga Day 2026. Complete Guide to the Theme, Brain Plasticity and Yoga. A comprehensive guide to International Yoga Day 2026's Yoga for Healthy Aging theme, featuring neuroimaging research showing yoga increases gray matter volume in brain regions linked to learning, memory, and emotional regulation. It presents a well-rounded view of yoga's physical, cognitive, and neurological benefits across the lifespan. Story 5, Breathwork and Nervous System Regulation. A practitioner-authored guide to using specific breathwork techniques for autonomic nervous system regulation, written from a clinical perspective. It outlines practical, accessible techniques for shifting from fight or flight to rest and digest states, making it highly applicable for daily stress management and somatic well-being. Story 6, Top Evidence-Based Strategies for Naturally Reducing Anxiety. This article compiles evidence-based, natural approaches to anxiety reduction with a focus on mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, and meditation practices. It emphasizes that even brief daily mindfulness sessions can meaningfully reduce anxiety symptoms and improve overall well-being. Story 7, Immediate Mood Changes and Practice Adherence During a Self-Directed Mindfulness Practice. A peer-reviewed PLOS-1 study examining how self-directed mindfulness practice affects immediate mood, and long-term adherence. The research touches on cognitive reappraisal as a mediating mechanism between mindfulness and stress reduction, offering nuanced insight into how and why mindfulness works. Story 8. Are you making this common mistake in Plough pose? Yoga Journal's in-depth explainer on Halasana, Plough pose, addresses common alignment errors and offers safety-conscious guidance for practitioners. Written by a yoga educator, it exemplifies the kind of grounded, teacher-informed technical content that supports safe home and studio practice. Story 9. International Yoga Day 2026 focuses on healthy aging. Reports on the 2026 International Yoga Day theme of healthy aging, noting significant growth in academic research on yoga's relationship to the aging process as evidenced by PubMed Central data. It frames yoga's combination of movement, breathing, and meditation as a holistic framework for longevity. Story 10. Nervous System Regulation Meditations, Insight Timer. Insight Timer's curated collection of nervous system regulation meditations highlights the role of breathwork and gentle awareness practices in restoring balance after chronic stress. As one of the largest free meditation platforms, it offers accessible, practitioner-led audio content for calming the nervous system. Story 11. How yoga, swimming, and running each target the body's stress response. This article compares how different forms of exercise, yoga, swimming, and running, engage the body's stress response systems, building on years of research into aerobic and mind-body exercise. It contextualizes yoga's unique neurological and physiological stress reduction effects relative to other popular movement practices. Story 12. Cultivating Inner Peace, 10 Practices for a Calm and Centered Life. A practical, spiritually grounded guide offering 10 accessible practices for cultivating inner peace, with references to mindfulness research supporting stress reduction and well-being. The non-dogmatic tone makes it suitable for a broad audience seeking actionable daily routines for emotional balance.